Hey there, I'm Scott. Welcome back to my home and my kitchen. A few weeks ago I received an email from one of my viewers named Adrian. He and his wife used to live here in Denver but have recently relocated to Philadelphia. And he's craving some really great Southwestern cuisine. And one of the recipes he asked that I do for him was my version of green chili. Green chili is a recipe that I've learned since I've lived here in Denver. It's sort of just like their sauce. They use it over burritos, over enchiladas, just by itself. It's really good, and it uses New Mexico green chilies. A lot of times you'll see hatched green chilies, and that's exactly what they are. And I have some in a bowl here, and you buy them, you'll either buy them completely roasted, intact, or you can buy them frozen or in cans. And what they look like are just green chili. If they're roasted, they'll have like the skin still on them. These have been rinsed off, and the inside membranes and the stems have been removed. And that's what you'll need to start with, is 8 green chilies, and that's about one 15-ounce can worth if you're buying it that way, or if you're buying them frozen. Look for about 15 ounces. You'll also need a 28-ounce can of whole tomatoes with the juice. Don't drain anything. 3 large cloves of garlic. Green chilies can have sort of an adverse effect on your stomach if you don't add the garlic, so make sure you add that to this recipe. It just levels out the flavors and makes it a little more tolerable for your stomach. And these aren't that spicy. You can definitely buy green chilies really hot. You can also get them mild, and you can get them anywhere in between. So don't be afraid too much of the heat on this unless you're buying like hot or extra hot. I also have 1 cup of a really rich chicken stock mixed with 1 cup of water. We're going to need a pinch of salt and 1 pound of ground pork. I've seen this recipe done where you use cubed up pork or different types of things. The ground pork actually works the best, and you can find that at most butchers. And also a large heavy bottom pot with the lid. You'll need that, and a spoon. So I have this heating up over pretty high heat. I'm going to add just a touch of olive oil to the bottom of the pan. We're going to add our pork to start off with. I'm going to let that get hot and let it caramelize up pretty well. So make sure it's really, really well browned. I just wanted to show you guys what's happened in my pot. When I added that ground pork to my hot skillet with the oil, and what this will normally happen to any sort of ground meat, it's going to start giving off a lot of its natural juice. And that's just fine. What I want to do is sort of move that meat off to the side. I want for all of this juice to evaporate, to completely go away, and then that's going to let my meat really brown, because I kind of want it to stick to the bottom. I want that really developed flavor to happen. So I'm going to let this liquid evaporate, and then get this meat nicely browned. Okay, as you can see, most of the extra liquid has evaporated and left us just with the natural fat and that olive oil that we started with in the pan, and the fat that's given off from the ground pork. So what I want to do is start working that meat back over so it's in a kind of a solid layer, and then take a look inside the pot, and you can see it's starting to kind of brown and stick to the bottom, and that's absolutely what we want. The meat is cooked, but really what we're trying to do here is develop a nice, deep, rich flavor with the pork. So I really want to get that a nice, dark caramel color before we continue. Okay, so in our bowl of the green chilies, what I want to do is I just take scissors for this. And I just want to cut this into little, probably 1/4-inch strips, and you can cut them across a little bit. Do this throughout for the entire 15 ounces of the green chili. So this is exactly what we're looking for, a really nice caramel rich color, and the pieces will start to stick to the bottom of your pan, and that is absolutely fine. And that's actually a point I want to make. Don't do this in a non-stick pan, because you really want it to stick, because all of that dark caramel color is definitely good flavor. So what we want to do now is add our chopped up green chilies. And anytime you handle green chilies, like when you're cutting these up with the scissors, make absolutely certain that you wash your hands very well before you put them anywhere close to your face. So I just want to give that a stir around our pot so everything is nicely incorporated. You can see that as we start to add things with liquid to it, those brown bits from the bottom of the pan will start to release and come up. We're going to add our garlic that we've already chopped up really finely. That goes in. So give this a stir, and that is already smelling so delicious. The next thing we want to add is our tomatoes. And the way I do this is I take my scissors, the same ones I used for the green chilies, And I just take a tomato out and just cut them right into the pan. I don't want to lose any of that juice. That's why I don't do them on a cutting board or in a food processor, because it would just be too fine. So I just take them one by one and add the entire can to our green chili. We've got all the tomatoes chopped up. Just take a look in the pot. It looks really delicious and smells really delicious. And just the juice that's given off from those few little tomatoes that we have in there, that bottom fond, or the brown bits, are definitely starting to release, and that's going to add delicious flavor. So all we need to do now is just add the juice that remains in our can of tomatoes. Give that a nice stir around. It really has a nice fall color. I love serving this in the fall. And to that we're going to add our 1 cup of chicken stock and the 1 cup of water. And depending on how salty your chicken stock is, add a pinch or so to taste of salt. Give this a stir. What I want to do is bring this up to a boil, and then I'm going to add the lid on, just a little bit of skew, and let it simmer for just about an hour. As it stews, if it starts getting too thick, you can add water to your liking, but I actually like it a little bit thick. So I'll show you what that looks at once it comes up to a boil. Really delicious. It's just come up to a boil. A nice steady boil, which is exactly what we want. I'm going to turn my heat down to a simmer and put the lid on just a little bit of skew to let a lot of that moisture evaporate. I'm going to let this sit on the stove for about an hour. I'll probably check in on it every 15 minutes or so, and if it gets too thick, I'll add a little bit of water just to my liking. We'll be back in an hour and I'll show you what it looks like. So it's been just about an hour, a little bit over an hour actually, and the green chili turned out absolutely wonderful. This is pretty dry. I mean, you can make it as dry as you want just by letting it sit and simmer until as much liquid you want to evaporate has gone away. Or you could add a little bit more liquid by adding water if you wanted a little more soupy in consistency. So let's give this a taste. I'm actually serving this just for my taste with a little bit of tortilla on the side as a soup. It's absolutely delicious. You know, the flavor of the green chili comes through, and like I said earlier, it's a distinct taste, but it's not really that hot. I mean, there's heat to it, but not extreme by any means. This is delicious over bean burritos, like a bean and rice burrito as a sauce over the top. The green chili is also delicious for breakfast. You could roast or fry some potatoes, hash browns, put those in the bottom of a bowl. Put your green chili over it and then a fried egg on top. It's absolutely delicious. So Adrian, thanks so much for your email. I really hope you enjoy this recipe and it gives you a real taste of the Southwest. And for everyone else, please feel free to email me. My email address is scottindenver@msn.com. Should you want to make a comment on this recipe that we did today, or ask me like Adrian did to prepare one for you, I'll be happy to. And also, please check out my website at scotthargrove.blogspot.com. There's all of my recipes there, but also I include some articles that I've written for a publication here in Denver. One's how to write the perfect thank you note, how to select a really great hostess gift, and a number of other articles. So I hope you'll check that out. All right, have a good day. Bye.